Good morning, Sassy Scrappers. How you doing today? This is Marvelous Monday, and I'm here to show you a little different thing today. I'm showing you all the adhesives that Creative Memories has. Now, if you can't find something here that works, I don't know what, but so I'm going to tell you a little bit about these, and I kind of think probably you don't all realize all of these that we have. So I'm going to start off with the photo tape. Now this is just a thin line, and it's only actually probably part of this, about 3/4 of wide as this paper is, but there's a little bit of double-sided clear tape there. And that goes on, if you're going to do like a 8x10 picture on a page or something like that, you can put it around the outside with it. You also use this if you, there's a little bit of old on the top of that one that got stuck on there. You also use this if you're going to make those pages where you put like 4 pages together, you know, and they fold out. This is what you use to hook those together. It's a very strong tape. It's not very forgiving, so once you put it down, it's pretty much stuck there. So it's a good solid tape for something that you want to hold on to the page really tightly. Okay, so the next one I'm going to start with, these are some that kind of maybe aren't quite as familiar, but we do have the photo tape. Also, we have the Archivers photo corners, and these are just clear corners. They come in 2 different sizes. I don't know if you can see that very well or not. Kind of. But anyway, you put those on, and then your pictures just clip under the corner, and it holds them down. So it's more like what was in the old, old books that you used to see. But these are completely photo safe and everything. So they are what you want to use instead of just those old ones. I have a couple boxes of these. They had these out for a while, and then they discontinued them. But these are adhesive dots, and they're kind of, there's another brand. I know we used to always get them when we went to Schaumburg. We used to always get them, but there's a paper that rolls out, and then there's little adhesive dots on them. And they're good. They're really good for like putting flowers or something on a page when you make a flower, and then you want to stick it on the page, and you can stick it underneath there, and they hold pretty firmly. Now I gotta get this back in here. So, but they're good. They're really good. But they didn't sell enough of them. I don't think people really realized that we had them. And they're not used as often as a lot of these others. So I think that's probably part of the reason too. But I do have a couple boxes of those. So if you decide you want those, let me know right away. All right, then we get into some of the others here, and these are more commonly used. And this is a foam tape. It's a lot bigger than this. This is mine. I use this a lot anymore in place of our foam squares. The foam squares now come in 4 different sizes on a sheet. Used to be 1 sheet of big ones and 1 sheet of small ones, and that was it. But now they come in a variety pack, and you get 2 sheets like this in every package. And there's some great big ones, so if you got something that you just need 1 big sticker on, or you can put a foam square on there. And these are really, really great for adding dimension to your pages, just to make it look a little different, like it's really popping out at you. And I use a lot of these. Along with that is the foam tape. If you have a title or something long, this is so much easier to pull off. Just clip off what you need, stick it down, and you've got it good to go. You don't have to pull off like 4 or 5 of these little things. You just pull 1 strip off and it's good. And like I said, this comes in a much bigger roll, but I use it a lot. So that's why this is small, but I thought I'd show it to you because I do use it. And it's a lot easier than putting, like 4 or 5 of these on, just to cut a little strip, and you can cut it exactly the length you want. And there you go. So those are a couple things that add dimension. Then we get into our glue pen. And this is our, this one is really old. Look how dirty it is. It's really old, and it still has some in it, but it's getting low. And this is really good just to give you a little dot of glue here and there. If you have some small little, like an eyeball on something, you'll put this down. Now it will come out blue, but as it dries, it clears. So that way you can see that, you know, where you put it, so you have time to put your element on top of it before it dries. Sometimes I'll wait just a little bit, you know, just a few seconds, maybe 10 seconds or something, just to let it start to harden a little bit and then stick it on. But very good adhesive. Of course, all of this is photo safe. You know, you don't have to worry about that at all. When you buy Creative Memories products, you know that it's photo safe unless they tell you differently. And then we get into all of our tape runners. And we have several different tape runners, and they're for several different things. This is the original, or I call it the regular tape runner. And this one just comes off in little tiny rectangles. And it is pretty strong in that if you put it down, be careful, because when you pull it up, it might tear something, it might tear your paper a little bit or whatever. But it is good for putting, like, if you gut a piece of paper and then put another piece of paper on top of that to make it look like it's framed. This is good for that. It's good for putting pictures down. It's your main go-to most of the time, until they came out with the repositionable. And this repositionable is what I use now, probably 85%, 90% of the time. It's very forgiving, but it does become permanent after time. So it does get stronger and it holds your things down well. Most of the time, this is good for pictures, you know, unless you've got a really heavy picture. But most of the time, for just regular pictures, this is good enough for that. This is good enough for just putting paper onto paper. But if you have like a border that you want to put on, and you want to put that on a page, and the border has some elements on it, I would probably use the regular, okay? But this is wonderful for, like, when you cut out a border from a border maker. This is wonderful for that, because you can apply it. And of course, I apply it on my little pad here, silicone pad, but you apply it to the product. And I don't even know if I have anything here. I probably have something over here in my stash. I have this stash of extra stuff over here. This is the new Elegant border. Isn't that pretty? But you can just take it and run a little bit across here and a little bit across here, and nothing comes off on here. It all sticks to your border. And then when you flip it over, you don't see it. But if you put it down on your page and you do see a little of it, all you have to do is rub it and it comes right off. So it's very forgiving as far as if I'd put this down crooked, then I could easily take my multi-purpose tool, which is another thing I was thinking about telling you about. But I could easily take that multi-purpose tool, get under it, and pull it up, and then adjust it to where it needs to be. So this adhesive has probably become my top seller in the adhesives now, over the regular. I sell a lot of both of these, but the repositionable is probably the favorite now, as you can use it so many different ways. We also have this one, which is the vellum. And this is very good with vellum. And you put it, you know, underneath the vellum, and then you'll do what they call burnishing it, which is basically you just rub it down. And you can use your multi-purpose tool for this too, but you'll rub it down on the paper, and then it kind of goes away. So, and at first I didn't know that, didn't realize that you needed to really burnish it down. And once I did, it made a huge difference. It works much, much better. And they are coming out with more vellum all the time. And vellum is so pretty and adds such a different look to your pages. So you should have one of these. I've had this one for quite a while because I don't use a lot of vellum. So they do last quite a while, whereas these two go pretty quickly. This one goes really quick. And then last of all, we have our crafting tape. And this is a very sturdy, very non-forgiving, I should say, tape, but you'll want to use this when you're putting down like cardstock that has things on it that's really pretty heavy. Like say you have a piece of cardstock with a bunch of flowers and then maybe some gems and stuff on it, but it's pretty heavy. And or something maybe that you've taken. Sometimes I take and show you guys how to do things where you fold a bunch of cardstock and it gets pretty heavy on there. This is what you would want to use for that. This is, I think that was Sherry the other day, had some things that we had folded in, but they weren't sticking. You know, she'd used regular tape, but they just weren't holding down because it was heavy cardstock. We used this and it worked fine. So this is what you're going to use for really heavy things or big things that have a big fold in them that aren't holding very well, that kind of thing. And again, I don't use a whole lot of this, but it's great to have when you need it. So anyway, these are basically our adhesives that we have. And I think you'll find that they are all very, very good. So if you have any questions about what you should use, you know, when you're using your projects, when you're doing your projects, which adhesive would work best for you or what you want to use, just let me know and I'll try to help you out. But I think I kind of went through what the uses are for all of these today. And like I said, they're great products. Yes, you can go to Walmart and buy adhesives that they say they're repositionable or they're temporary or whatever for less. Yes, you can. There's no doubt about that. But I've also heard from others where they say after a few years they couldn't figure out why their pictures were falling out of their books. Well, they had used a cheap adhesive. And it's kind of the old adage, you get what you pay for. These are good adhesives. I have been making albums since the 90s. I have not had any pictures fall out of my books, and I use basically only. When I went to Schaumburg a couple times, I got some free stuff, so I tried it. But basically, I only use our Creative Memories adhesives, and I have been very, very happy with them. It's just, the only thing is I run through them too quickly. And a lot of you will agree with that, but that means we're putting pictures on pages and that's what we need to be doing. So if you have any questions, let me know, but hopefully you have a marvelous Monday and stay sassy. Bye-bye.